the other person could have, let's say, a red mark or a scratch. Hey everybody, this is David Kohlmeier, the problem solver from Las Vegas at Sticky Paws Studio. Welcome to the Problem Solver, airing every single Thursday at 4:30 live on social media. Welcome again. Here this week, I have, as usual, amazing different guests coming on the show talking about nonprofits, how they're helping people, going above and beyond to help the community in different ways. As you know, as a problem solver, my goal is to help people with any type of problem that they have. There is no problem that's too small or too big that I can basically help people work with, refer them in the right direction. We work with so many other problem solvers that want to help people. I don't charge any money whatsoever to help people. It's kind of what I do as a retired police officer of 17 years, is kind of giving back as usual. Even though I'm not in uniform any longer, I'm doing my t-shirt or a suit and tie, helping people on the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have a progressive web app, which is the problemsolver.vegas. You can go on to the progressive web app, problemsolver.vegas, and you will be able to put any problem that you have, your name, your phone number, email, any information you have. You click on one of those tabs, and from there, we will have a problem solver call you back and speak with you, see how we can help you out, refer you in the right direction. And also, if you need an attorney, we have the Las Vegas Legal Network that is working to get people legal help if they need help, whether it's free, pro bono, discounted, contingency. The goal is to have a network of lawyers helping people that have problems. Since I am not an attorney, my goal is to refer people to the right attorneys to get the help that they need. Again, thanks so much for joining today. I have Tom Kovach, who's the executive director from Las Vegas Metro Police Department Foundation. Thanks, Tom, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So I know this, the Metro Foundation has been around for a bit, and I wanted to really have you guys come on this show. I've been around in policing, and I know there's different foundations and different things that are taking place. I noticed that you guys are doing more things on social media, and I was like, you know what, I really want to get you guys on the show and talk about what you guys are doing. So tell us a little bit, Tom, about yourself, where you're from, and how'd you get started with Metro's foundation?
So I was actually born in Hawaii. I didn't live there very long. My mother was living there because my father was serving in Vietnam, and she wanted to be as close to him as possible. But most of my childhood was either outside of Boston, outside of Chicago, and then as an adult, I've moved around quite a bit, but have been here in Southern Nevada since 1996.
Okay.
I became involved with the LVMPD Foundation because my husband at the time was a captain at LVMPD. And he had been asked to serve on the foundation board of directors. He actually was asked by the current sheriff, Joe Lombardo, to replace Joe when Joe decided to run for sheriff. And Matt went to his first meeting and realized that there's great opportunity for the foundation if they could have a strategy. And so I volunteered my time to develop a strategic plan for the organization. And at the end of that planning process, the board asked me if I would step in as the first executive director of the organization. And I have been doing that since.
So how long has the foundation been around?
The foundation has actually been around since 1999, but it's really only been the last half dozen years that it's acted truly as a professionally operated foundation. When the foundation was set up back in 1999, the sheriff at the time was really looking to minimize risk. He saw that there were a number of units on the department that wanted to raise money from the public to supplement the money that they could get for their department through the regular budgeting process. And he just envisioned the incidents that might occur if you had 36 different nonprofits under LVMPD or associated with Metro, with 36 different boards of directors, 36 different bank accounts, and so forth. So from a practical standpoint, the department decided, let's create one foundation that would basically serve as the checking account for all of these units on the department that wanted to raise money. Flash forward into about 6 years ago, the department decided that there was a need and an opportunity for the foundation to be much larger and much more productive. And so that prompted the strategic planning that I talked about earlier, and that led us to today.
And you've been doing it for what, 6 years?
Yes.
Okay. So this foundation technically is like the nonprofit component of bringing in money, and then it can help different parts of the police department, correct?
That's right. So we are an independent organization, which is important. We don't want to be seen as an arm of the police department or a body that is subject to a particular person on the department. We have an independent board of directors that is comprised of business leaders and community leaders who value what Metro does, who support law enforcement. And yes, our principal functions are one, to raise money for the police department and public safety programming, and second, to create a stronger relationship between the law enforcement, and in this case, Metro, and the communities they serve.
Okay. So when the money comes in general for the nonprofit and it's independent, how do they decide? Is the board deciding where money goes for these different, like, is it the extra funds that are needed for like maybe specialized units or something like that? Like how does it get broken up?
Right. So we basically at this point have a $3 million operating budget, and we spend money every year on equipment and technology that the department requests. We spend money on a scholarship program for the sons and daughters of retired and current officers and staff. We spend money on training and advanced education. We spend a lot of money every year on community engagement programming. Mm-hmm. And we spend money on capital projects that typically exceed the $3 million annual budget. So currently we are constructing a new reality-based training center for the police department that will actually be used by over 60 first responder agencies, public sector, as well as some private units and some of the larger gaming companies. And that is a $35 million project for its first phase.
$35 million?
Yes.
For the first phase?
Yes.
It's a lot of money.
Yes. We've raised $23 million of that 35, and the first building opened last month.
If you could help me raise $1 million, that would be helpful. But $23 million to raise is not an easy situation, although, of course, there's tons of supporters for Metro, basically being the main law enforcement in town. People want to support and back the badge. So, but it's amazing. Do you do a lot of that fundraising yourself, or is that your expertise as well, or?
That's my background, yes. I have been doing fundraising for nonprofits for my entire career. And
that's amazing. Anytime that, relationship and connections, I mean, that's what really can make a nonprofit, successful or not successful, right? If you can't raise money and you have a nonprofit, I always say that there's so many nonprofits out there, most people don't know what nonprofits are out there, One of the things I was actually trying to do as well, since I kind of create networks, is actually having a nonprofit network so people know all the nonprofits, because most people just don't know. Once in a while, I think the local magazine does a pamphlet or magazine like of all the nonprofits for Vegas. Mm-hmm. I think once a year. I'm not sure if it's like Vegas Inc. or something like that does it. But most part, people don't know,
That's right.
And I, of all the years, me being a cop in general out here, I really don't think I knew about the foundation. I was part of the Injured Police Officers Fund, which is separate, right?
Yes, that's separate.
It's a separate nonprofit.
Correct.
Helping injured officers. I was actually on the board as a Henderson police officer and board member on the Injured Police Officers Fund, which represents all the different departments of injured officers. But I just don't remember the foundation as much. So I think you guys are doing a good job because you're catching my attention, and I've been in town 20 years. So it seems like you're doing a lot more on social media, which I think is great. Yes.
So one of our challenges, right, is most of the public doesn't realize that there could be a foundation that supports a public entity like a police department. So we spend a lot of effort and time and resources on promoting who we are and what we do. So not only the public learns about us, but quite frankly, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of people within the 6,000 member police department that don't know about us. So it is very important that we continue to promote ourselves, promote the work we fund, and allow more people in the public and in the police department to know we exist and why we exist.
And I love, I was a community policing officer in Henderson, and as a New York City police officer, which I was there for about 4 years, grew up in New York, it's all about, community policing there in general. I mean, just walking a footbeat, in the community, started with me in regards to community policing and just talking and meeting with people. That's why New Yorkers are kind of talkers, So, so in regards to the reality-based training center, where is that located now? So I saw it on TV the other day too.
So it's just south of Nellis, okay, up in the northeast part of the valley.
It's amazing because I know they were trying to do it out in going out to Boulder City by there's a range out there. I thought they originally, when they were trying to build it, they were thinking it was going to be out there and it was going to be for multiple agencies. I'm not sure if you're familiar. You know where the Desert Gun?
Yes.
Originally, was it supposed to be over there?
So that's actually a separate facility.
Okay.
And I do not know the current status of it, but there's quite a lot of land out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the thoughts is that that could be a training facility that would require a larger landmass, so maybe drone training or things like that. But again, I don't know the current status of it. But the training center we're building, we're currently on a 40-acre parcel of land. The land had been occupied by the North Las Vegas PD's firing range. And North Las Vegas has entered into a 99-year land use agreement with the police department for the specific purposes of building this new training facility.
In that spot?
On that spot. And in exchange for the use of that land, Metro expanded its firing range, which is on adjacent property to where we're building, so that North Las Vegas could use that range as their own. So it's been a cooperative effort from the very beginning. And the idea is that we will acquire 3 more 40-acre parcels of land to give us 160 acres. And then Nellis has agreed to donate land specifically for a vehicular training track for an EVOC. And so that's going to give us, up over 200 acres of land to build the first few phases of this training center.
It's amazing. It's kind of weird because I've been here 20 years and it feels like that should have been 20 years ago, but it just takes so long to get that done. Now, I know this is a little bit off topic, but I know in Henderson, they were trying to build the CSI lab. Are you familiar with that? Because I know they were trying to do fundraising years ago. Did that die or that was that, I'm talking?
I don't know the status
maybe
of that.
that was specifically for Henderson. I know they were big on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of land to do a lot of different things. Where do they do the EVOC now? Where do they do the...
So the department currently uses the Speedway,
Okay.
and based on the growth of the valley and the growth of the police department and the needs, as well as the growth of the Speedway, it's just not sufficient.
So they need their own space at this point in time.
Exactly.
Because we used to go out, like I said, to Desert Gun, that location there south, going to Boulder City, and then we used that in Henderson. And I think I could have sworn North Las Vegas went out there too, not Metro. But, it wasn't like a major, they used to use cones. It sounds kind of primitive, like they're using cones for a track when it should be like a real track. If you think about it, the money that you should prevent having, accidents with police and law enforcement, you need to spend the money to do the proper training. Everyone's always saying, well, how come the officer's not trained? Technically they were out there training with cones, when there should be a real track. At least the Speedway is more of a real track,
Right.
So at this point in time, you raised $23 million and you're trying to get the $35 million for the first phase?
That's right.
Okay. So you're still collecting money. So if anyone that hears this wants to put in $1, $100, or $1 million, they should contact you.
Yes.
Okay.
We welcome gifts of all sizes.
All sizes. So basically Tom's available as the executive director to bring in money to help the reality-based training center, and they're still raising money in general. So for the first phase, it's $35 million. So what's open right now?
So what's open right now is about a 50,000 square foot facility.
Okay.
That includes all the administrative offices for the training center. It includes classrooms. It includes mat rooms. It includes a simulator room, as well as a MACTAC secure garage.
Did it just open?
It did.
Okay. So they're actively using it now.
Yes. So the police department is moving in, and while they're moving in, they've begun to do training.
So that's great. Congratulations on that. That's a huge success.
Thank you.
It's nice to see your fruits of your labor later on, right? They're actually using it.
Absolutely.
And you've been with them for 6 years. So how long would you say you're working on it?
We have been working on this project for probably 4 years, actively fundraising for 3. And, of course, 2 of those years was a pandemic, and one of those years pretty much the state was shut down. So it has been challenging only from an economic standpoint. But as you said earlier, the goodwill that this community has for our police department is really heartening. And so that's the reason we're at $23 million and going on.
Okay, awesome. So tell me, so let's jump right. I know you have, I think we have, let's just real quickly, let's put on the screen the website, if you don't mind, Chase. Just the website of Las Vegas Metro Police Foundation so people see it. So he can go through this on the website. Tell us a little bit about the website, what's there. So if people go on to What's the domain? Is it
LVMPDfoundation.org.
okay? Tell us a little bit about this website. What's on here?
So on our website, you will find information about the numerous events we do throughout the year. Our fundraising events have not only the importance of raising money for the organization, but they also have an important programmatic component. So tomorrow night, we're handling our annual Hidden Heroes Gala Dinner, and that's going to raise us probably about $300,000. But equally importantly, we are going to be shining light on the Fusion Watch, which is our real-time crime center that's located at our headquarters. And our goal with this event is to allow the guests and the public to have a better understanding of the people we call hidden heroes, not necessarily the frontline officers that you'll see each and every day working for us and keeping us safe. But also on that website, you'll see that there is information about the ways you can support us through merchandising and through purchasing items like our canine calendar. You can find information about things that we fund. There are dozens of community engagement programs that we fund every year, everything from things around the holidays like Santa Cops to turkey giveaways at Thanksgiving. Last year, we gave away over 12,000 backpacks and school supplies to our officers so they could distribute them to families who otherwise wouldn't be able to have those types of things. We fund sporting programs for youth. We fund a Little League in the Bolden Area Command. We also fund a soccer league in the same area command. And the impact of those sports programs are pretty significant. When the Little League began, the year after it started, as compared to the year before it started, there was something like an 80% drop in violent crime in the neighborhood around where the games and practices were played and held. And that's not the only reason there was that drop in crime, but that league played a role in that because it does a couple of things. One, it gives youth who might otherwise be idle something constructive to do.
Agreed.
And that's going to more than likely put those young people in situations where they're less likely to commit crime. Secondly, it's building a really positive relationship for those youth with law enforcement because police officers are serving as the coaches of the league. And so not only are these youth having the opportunity to see an officer in a different way, but they're seeing an officer in a way on a regular basis where the sole purpose of the interaction by the officer and those youth is to help improve the youth's lives. And that's not necessarily a message that a lot of youth, and particularly youth of communities of color, which are the majority in the Bolden Area Command area, have seen. And then lastly, it brings the community and law enforcement together. So at the games, families and neighbors are coming out, getting to know each other. And if a crime does occur, that community is now more likely to work with the police to try to find the culprit of the crime. And so all those things taken together are important ingredients to helping to reduce crime in the communities where we're doing this community engagement work.
You sound on point, but I totally agree with what you're saying. The more involvement, with the community and with the youth is important. Question I'm not sure if you know, so I actually used to teach the DARE program, and Metro was very big with it. I know when there was the economy was changing, there was budget cuts, but I know Metro was very big because I went to the class with Metro officers, and it seems like the DARE program, I never really understood the whole reason, but it seemed like it was going away, and some people would say DARE doesn't work, and it does work. In Henderson, it was going to go away as well because I think they were trying to follow Metro's lead. And then I kind of came up with the idea to do a program that was just 50% less manpower, and it was called Dreams. I think today it's called Dream, and basically just a 5-week program instead of 10 weeks. Are you familiar at all with the DARE in the past and the future? Does DARE ever come up these days? Because I see, believe it or not, it sounds weird, but I've gone to IHOP in different restaurants, and there's these little tables these days where people are standing and it says DARE, and there's kind of DARE, you can do a fundraiser. It seems a little sketchy personally. I never followed up with it, but it's the DARE logo and so on. And I've been to DARE training actually in San Antonio, Texas years back. Anything in regards to DARE? Just curious if you had any.
No, we have not been asked to fund that. And I really don't know much about the current status of that program.
I was just curious because I said Metro was so big in it, and And it was kind of, like I said, I mean, it's hard to prove these programs to say if it works. We all know deep down inside, right? It's got to be something good. If you have police officers that are coaches and they're with the kids and they're creating relationships, those bonds with police officers, right, can change people's lives. So the DARE program, I thought was a very good program. And whether you want to call it DARE or DREAMS, whatever it is, I mean, it was 10 weeks of the officers interacting with students in 5th grade. I don't know what really happened with it, but I'm curious in the future. I'd like to follow up with you just to see what your take on it, maybe from the administration point, like should that come back, But all these community programs are what we call community engagement, I think is great. But like I said, in Henderson, the one thing that I left my claim to fame, not that people would know it's been 7 years, but the DREAMS program, or AKA DREAM program, still exists in 5th grade in Henderson to 5th graders. And it's 5 weeks instead of 10 weeks. But at least it's like a self-improvement program, and the officers go into the classrooms besides reading week. Now, this is reading week. A lot of officers are going into schools. But I just think having some type of program in the 5th grade classes, you're getting them at the young age, I think definitely helps.
Absolutely. We are starting to develop more programming to get to youth in elementary school, because we know by the time they leave elementary school, they form certain opinions. And if we can help in the evolution of their opinions by having officers in supportive roles with those youngsters, we know we'll all be better off.
I actually recommend, if you don't mind, in the future, maybe you should get with Henderson just to sit in on one of those classes, the DREAM class, just to see what they're doing. Because maybe, you never know, that may be something that you want to bring to Vegas. Because that's the majority, Clark County is Las Vegas, Maybe that's one of the programs they can fund. The truth is, it really is really not much to the program. It's really the officers and their time, right? So it's the salary of the officer going in, but it's limited, I mean, I know Metro's a lot larger for the amount of elementary schools, but when they talk about crime, you got to start when they're younger. Actually, I was just on the news today, an hour ago, I guess it came up that we're number 19th in shootings, which probably 19 is probably not bad compared to the United States of America from big cities. But there was an article that just came out that says Clark County ranks 19th highest in gun-related deaths. Sounds bad. I mean, 19 out of 50-some states. And I actually was on, I think it was Channel 8. Will be on tomorrow morning. I was just sharing my opinion in general. But I mean, it is the Wild West out here. People can carry firearms. I mean, I don't know if we're going to say COVID and economic times and inflation and things cost more money. Things happen. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Recently, there was a hookah lounge shooting that happened the other day, and I mean, it's 2:00 in the morning in a hookah lounge, on more of an urban area where it's busier, and who knows if there was security or not. So, I mean, there are guns that are out there. Though I did share something that was kind of interesting. I said, in Ukraine right now, the right to bear arms is like the reason why people, God forbid something happens. And someone told me a long time ago, the reason why like Russia and other places would never invade America is because everyone has a firearm. So it actually prevents other countries trying to think they can take over America because so many people have guns and rifles, But of course, of course I'm against gun violence, but kind of interesting perspective. But anyway, I urge you to, maybe I can connect you with somebody over there just so you can see their program, because I think I think we need to maintain that program. And like my kids are in Clark County and they live in Vegas. They're not in Henderson. So I think it actually would be beneficial to kids. And I don't think it's an expensive program to run. It's a time, right? Allocating time with the officers. So we have March 4th, which is tomorrow night. So this is airing right now. So if anybody wants to go tomorrow night to Hidden Heroes Gala, which is basically people that are, support staff and working in general, if they want to go, what does it cost? Can they still buy tickets? I mean, today's Thursday.
Yeah, there's a few tickets left. We've pretty much sold out. But
okay. How many tickets were there?
We've sold over 250. So
I feel bad. I want to start going to more of these events. It's been a while. I guess now these events are coming back.
That's right. So this is our first one really since the pandemic this year. And the next one we have coming up is later this month on Tuesday, March 29th. That is our annual Wonder Woman of Metro Luncheon. And that event allows us to showcase female leadership and female officers on the department.
So Wonder Woman of Metro was a luncheon?
That's right.
That seemed pretty cool. I was thinking that you need like a Wonder Woman over there when I saw need to get someone like dressed up as like Wonder Woman with the Metro officers.
Well, the first time we did the event, we actually distributed capes, and the guests could put that on and demonstrate that, they look like Wonder Woman.
These days you have to everything's like engagement. Like you have to get people interactive and involved in it, Actually, here at the Sticky Pod Studio, we're doing something on St. Patrick's Day. So we're going to decorate the place and ask people to wear green, and the food's going to be green, and maybe have a leprechaun or something like that, walking around. But I mean, people these days, you have to engage people. People's attention span's it's like 15 seconds these days, So that's really cool. I definitely want to attend the March 29th luncheon. April 19th is what? Go True Blue, a golf tournament?
That's right. So last year we started a golf tournament. One, because we thought there'd be some popularity among our donors and supporters. But secondly, and most importantly, because we weren't sure when we were going to be able to return to in-person events. So we thought people would more than likely go to an outdoor event before they went to an indoor event.
Good point.
So we started a golf tournament, and it was really successful. We set a ambitious goal of $100,000, and we hit that, which is unusual for golf tournaments to raise that type of money. But our golf tournament is unlike any other golf tournament really that's out there. When someone buys a foursome for the tournament, they actually only get to choose 3 people to play because the 4th person is going to be an officer. And so again, in this spirit of not only having events to raise money, but also to build stronger relationships with our officers in the community, this gives that group of 3 people the opportunity to spend a few hours with an officer and really get to know him or her.
That's kind of interesting. Are they going to be in uniform?
No, they're not in uniform when they're playing.
I was going to be funny. They're in uniform golfing. They actually probably make the experience. So the officer is going to be the 4th person.
That's right.
It kind of like, to me, I'm not a big golfer, but I used to like driving the golf cart kind of a little recklessly around the golf cart. So it probably wouldn't be good to have the Metro officer with me while I'm driving the golf cart chasing bunnies. But so it'd be 3 people in the office. I kind of like that. I kind of like to get to meet an officer and talk with them, But is it mandatory that takes place? Is it like everybody has to have that?
Well, if someone insists on having 4 people in their foursome, we're probably going to let them do that. But
what's the cost for the? We used to do the. Which golf location?
Southern Highlands.
Okay, we did the one on, was it Sahara and Fort Apache? What is it? The Canyon Gate. I think I did one years ago.
Okay.
So April 19th, what is the cost for that? I know sometimes it gets a little bit more expensive to do a foursome.
Yes. So because the officer is involved and we're raising as much money as we can, I think it's $2,400 for a foursome.
Okay. And how many are you doing for that one? So $2,400. And you're doing like what? How many? Because it's more limited when you do the golf, right?
Right. There'll probably be about 30 foursomes, so 120 people.
30 foursomes, okay. How's that going with that? That should be easy.
Yeah, we pretty much sold out last year, which is the first time we did it. We're expecting to do the same this year. There's a lot of interest. We're really pleased with the turnout. Okay,
so April 19th, if anyone basically wants golfing, they can go golfing. Officers can come with them as well. And then we have the March 29th, the Wonder Woman of Metro Luncheon. They can go to the Las Vegas Metro Foundation website in order to basically go online to register and stuff like that and pay.
Yep.
They also can make, so LVMPDfoundation.org, which is on the screen. If you're listening again, LVMPDfoundation.org. If someone wants to donate money, can they just go to the website as well?
Yes, they can. At the top of the page, there's a donate button.
Okay. So donate button is key in order to help out in regards to the Reality-Based Training Center. When you donate money, is there a button that you can press of where you want to allocate the money to?
So there's a field on the giving page where you could indicate if you want to restrict the money to a certain place.
Okay, good. So if someone's really adamant about that, is there several different allocations? Is it?
So we don't list them on the giving page,
write in?
but they could write it in. That's
okay,
right.
That's good to know. All right, so we have a lot of different events. So anyone that's listening, if you want to basically be more involved in the community, if you want to get engagement, you want to meet some officers, you want to thank the people behind the scenes that are helping out, and also the officers that are every day basically sacrificing their lives on the line. One thing I said today, even at lunch today, I met with some different medical providers that are helping people in the community. I went to a place called Black Mountain Grill where I would go for lunch as an officer in Henderson. Mm-hmm. And I used to always sit in the back, watching the front door, watching the front door, like as if the place is going to get robbed while I'm eating my lunch. And since I'm in full uniform, I'm like the absolute, the biggest target. Very sad with the 2 Metro officers that passed away at the CC's Pizza. Maybe people just don't understand that you're like have a target on you, and it's just crazy. I couldn't even imagine, the officers that passed away. I mean, they were tragically murdered that day. Actually, one of the parks I took my kids to, and I showcased them like the statue of one of the officers. Like this officer, I kind of explained to them that this was an officer that was alive, and that they're the warriors of the street, and they're protecting the street just like I did. And that when you see an officer, I want you to wave to them, because a lot of people, the problem with it is that even myself, right? If the kid doesn't have a seatbelt on, it's like, look, the police are like, people are scared of the police because the problem is it's the parenting issue. Like we're scaring the kids saying it's the police, right? And then you see the police, right? But the police are our friends. When you need to, there's an emergency, you need to call them. The problem is it's our fault that if we don't put the seatbelt on the child, it's, what I'm saying, that they can get hurt or injured. You want to train the children, and you know this, but I'm re-bringing it up to people that are listeners, that you want to make it known when there's a problem that it's okay to go to the police, to call 911 if there's an emergency, that the police are there for them, and they are committed and dedicated to basically saving people's lives and being out there. And without the police, could you imagine what our society would be like if we didn't have the police? And that's why we have to support the police and support the foundation. So again, anybody that's listening, that's watching, please, make a donation, get more involved in the community in general. So I know that you have a lot of, I know a few things you got going on, again, watching social media. You have, a booth over at the Fashion Show Mall?
That's right. So for the first time since just before Thanksgiving, we've been selling our merchandise someplace other than our website and headquarters. It's really exciting that we have this opportunity for the public.
Whose idea was actually to do that in the actually Fashion Show Mall? Because I commend that, because the injured police officer fund, I remember, it was always downtown and people would come in and go down there and try to buy stuff. But the Fashion Show Mall is really a great spot because it's a lot of tourism looking for that stuff.
That's right. So we had, as part of our strategy to expand our merchandising opportunities, we were going to go into the airport, and then COVID hit and the airport shut. So we really didn't do much expansion until the end of last year. And one of our board members is the general manager of the Fashion Show Mall. So he was able to provide us with a really good opportunity to sell merchandise at the kiosk.
I mean, I think it's a perfect spot. There's tourism, and I'm assuming it's going well, right?
It is going well. Yeah. I mean, quite frankly, it's just an issue of having more advertising to let more people know it's there. So for the most part, until recently, when we started to do some social media advertising for the kiosk, you'd have to go to the fashion show and walk by it to know it was there. And so we're starting to get to the point where people are learning about it and then actually going there as a destination.
So I know we have a few different items here that your director of marketing, Pamela, basically brought in. Let's just showcase a few things. So we got some T-shirts, some sweater here. If you want to just grab one just to showcase it. So we have like Metro Police T-shirts, long sleeve. What do they normally cost in general? If people, they can go to the website as well, right?
That's right. So much of our merchandise is, a little under $20 to up to, $30 or $40. Some things are higher, but that's the sweet spot for what we're selling. Okay.
So basically T-shirts, sweatshirts in general. So anyone that wants to go online, this is a blue one here.
There you go.
So do you have like all kinds of different various clothing, or just more a few items, or?
So quite a lot of clothing. We have baseball caps. We have face masks, given the times we're living in. There's some challenge coins. There's one on the top of the table. So,
okay, challenge coins.
And you're going to be able to tell the listeners better than I am the importance of challenge coins within law enforcement.
You know, it's funny. I was never, so I know a lot of people, a lot of SWAT officers basically having the coin. If they didn't have the coin, then there's always like a challenge coin. Like if they don't have the coin on, then they're basically, sometimes it was buying drinks or food or something like that in general. The camera. So basically just a coin. It's very popular having a challenge coin in general. And most officers would carry it in their pocket. And it's kind of challenging someone just to see whether or not they have the actual coin if they're carrying it, basically in support of it, and then they call it a challenge coin. I've had actually one or two for Henderson, but it's very, very big in the police world in general. It's just really nice. I mean, it's there's not any major. Actually, these days there's maybe more if there's limited supply. Sometimes there's different ones that are made that are commemorative. What do these normally cost if people want these?
I think those are $20.
Got it. Yeah, it's just a beautiful coin to have. It's like a commemorative, different things that are going on, showcasing the police. Grab the calendar that's over there behind you, the Canine calendar. Let's talk about the Canine calendar, because I saw that online the other day. Someone basically was talking about. Tell me a little bit about the calendar.
So there was a organization called Friends of LVMPD Canine, and a couple of years ago, they became part of our organization.
Okay.
And so to sort of celebrate that, we launched this calendar. This is the second year we've done it. And as you can see, there's photos of several of the canine dogs in the department.
So basically, it's a calendar of all the canine dogs in general, and it's basically a fundraiser showcase if you like the dogs. It's supporting the foundation, right?
That's right.
How much is the calendar normally?
$25.
Okay. So the calendar is basically available, especially if you're a dog lover or if you want to support canine. Now, here's a good question. So the $25, when you buy that calendar, does that specifically support more of the canine dogs, the canine units?
So yeah, we fund all of the healthcare for retired canine dogs.
Okay.
So a lot of the proceeds from our calendars will go for that. But then if canine has other needs in terms of equipment and other things that the dogs need, we will fund that as well.
Go back to one more thing. So if a canine dog retires, you guys support the dogs in retirement?
Yes.
What does that mean? Like food or medical?
It means medical, right. So we
Medical.
pay all the vet bills.
That's amazing. Here's a good question. Just thought of it. I know that I always tell people that if you get a dog, that you should go get the insurance. Can you get the insurance for those animals? There's like pet insurance. I wonder if there's a difference because the fact that it was a service animal. Can you still use that insurance, or there's no way of doing that? Have you ever looked into that?
We haven't. The main reason we haven't is that by the time we're asked to take care of the dogs, more than likely you can't buy insurance at that point.
They're
because
too old?
the dogs are too old. But I will look and ask
That's
the
a
police
good one,
department
right?
if they're.
I wonder if
they
you can
give
get like a
insurance for their dogs.
policy,
Right.
from once the dog is in canine. But I'm assuming there's got to be some type of stipulation because they're probably so worried that the dog probably is always going to be sick or hurt
Right.
because it's a canine dog. But it's something interesting to see. Or even if you can get an insurance company to provide that insurance policy maybe at a discount or something.
That's right.
It'd be interesting to see if some insurance company wants to be part of the foundation and to be a sponsor. That may be a good way of doing it.
It's a great idea. Thank you.
I'm always coming with ideas. Chase here, my engineer, he always laughs at my ideas, but once in a while I come up with a good idea. So, but you never know. If they want to be a sponsor, they want to help out, at least they can save some money, can use that money allocated to the Dream program or some other program that you want to do in the future.
And then speaking of canine, we have an annual event that's coming up called the Canine Trials. And this is an event that hasn't been held for the last couple of years because of COVID, but it's a free event. It's coming up on, the public day is Sunday, March 20th at the South Point. And what the public can experience is dogs from around the country competing against one another. So it's a pretty much full day of canine watching, and there'll be some vendor booths and other opportunities for people to see other functions of the police department, but it's primarily a day to enjoy the dogs.
Will you guys have a booth there?
We will, and we'll
Good.
be selling merchandise. We'll be selling specialty canine merchandise that we're bringing online for the first time. So there'll be a lot going on.
Over the 20 years that I've been here, I think I've gone one time. I feel like I just always miss it. Like I don't think they advertise it enough to let you know when it is. So March 20th is a Sunday, and that's basically free
It's a
for
completely
the public.
free event. Yes,
South
it
Point
is.
Hotel. So that basically, I think we need to do more to promote that in general. You know what I'm saying? I just think that people know about it. It's kind of like one of those, I'm not sure if you follow like Facebook, like sponsored ads or these events inviting people, I think more needs to be done because I always feel like I forget about it. And I guess these days with social media, more can be done. All right, so we also have behind me is the license plate. Now, I recently saw this. I actually, it's kind of interesting because over the 20 years, I know they always talked about getting license plates. I know there's always license plate frames, for Metro and some different people. Tell me about the plate and how that's going in regards to the foundation, because it's something brand new, right?
Yes. So a couple of years ago, we applied for a plate. That was delayed a little bit because of COVID, but we were approved, and last fall, we were able to begin allowing the public to go buy them or choose them at the DMV. So essentially, if someone buys a new vehicle or when their current registration is up and they need to renew, they have the opportunity to select our new license plate. And that provides money that goes directly to the foundation and supports all of our programs and services.
So here's a question. So normally, like when you want to get a license plate, you have to get like a petition, or like 1,000 people have to say that I'll go buy the plate. Is that what it is?
So you don't have to get a petition initially. There are two levels of license plates. One, 1,000, as you say, and then there's a higher level of 3,000. And in essence, what has to happen within the first year of circulation, you have to hit whichever level you've told the state you've applied for, and then maintain that number. And so long as you maintain that number, people can get new plates of that design. But if for some reason an organization doesn't maintain the 1,000 or 3,000, then the plate goes out of circulation for new plates, but anyone who has an existing plate can continue to renew that plate each year.
And I'm sorry, you said, when did they start giving out these plates?
You could start getting those plates last fall.
So it's been about a year?
6 months.
6 months, okay. So what does it cost? Because normally, so a lot of people don't know how this works. With vanity plates, you can basically pay a little bit extra money to get this plate, and then some of the money basically goes to the nonprofit, right?
That's right.
So how much is, like, if I want to get the extra plate?
It's about $40, and then about half of it goes to us.
Got it. And how many, so just to recap. So did you tell DMV or the state that we're going to do at least 1,000 or 3,000?
Yes. So we applied for the 3,000 plate. And the main reason we did that is the waiting list for it is much less time. So we could get this plate faster than we could if we had gone for the 1,000.
And you don't need a petition to, I think petition is probably the wrong word, but normally I thought it was signatures. Like, hey, I'll buy the plate.
No, we didn't need any signatures, but we did have to submit an application, and then we did have to present before the state license plate committee.
So right now, do you know how many plates were actually?
We're close to 1,000 in circulation after only 5 months or so.
So do you have to hit the 3,000 within a year?
Yes.
And then so was it better? I guess my question is this: is kind of interesting about the plates because other nonprofits may be out there. Wasn't it better to say that you want to do 1,000 plates? Do you think you'll hit the 3,000?
I think we'll hit the 3,000. Yes. And
I feel a little nervous. Like you got to make sure, right? You already did 1,000. You have 2,000 more to go, and you have to do it within the year.
That's right.
So you think that you'll hit it?
Yes.
I wonder what the numbers are like every single day. Is it like 1 plate, 5 plates, 10 plates?
Well, we don't get that type of reporting, so I can't answer that question. I will say, though, that this is more challenging today because of the Vegas Golden Knights and the Raiders having their own plates, right? Because so many people want those. I would expect that a lot of people who have those plates, if they didn't exist, would be
because they probably got those plates before this plate was available, right?
Yes, because both of those organizations were having plates available well before we started.
So the bottom line is, if you want to support the foundation, you want to have a license plate, Metro Foundation, you can do it. You can go to, again, your website as well, right? To get the plate information, you have to fill out, or is it DMV?
No, you have to go to the DMV to get that information.
Is there a link on your website that clicks to the DMV to get it?
I hope so.
If not, that's my second idea for the day. We need to link it to the DMV so it makes life easier. Plate, click on it, hyperlink to DMV to get the plate. Be interesting to see it's there. You got to make things like, dummy proof these days.
That's right.
I think it's a great plate. And I think actually, I will say, I think that the Metro officers, when they see the plate, they'll feel support as well. When they see the plate supporting our heroes. Now, you could also buy, I know I'm very familiar with this. This is a souvenir plate, right?
Well, that is the real plate.
Is this the souvenir plate?
The red letters are the souvenir plate.
Because I've done souvenir plates before. So that's a plate that people could buy. Code 4 meaning that everything is okay. So you actually sell the Code 4 plate, right? What does it cost to go buy this?
I think that's about $20, $25.
I like this. So Code 4 basically is the code for police, like, saying the Code 4 that they're okay. So if another officer stops by, sometimes they'll flash their fingers, with the 4, or they'll say over the radio their Code 4. And if it's Code 9, they need some help. So it's kind of cool. We've got the plates on the website right here. Is it showcased on? Okay, cool. Does it click if you click on the? Okay, good. So the bottom line is, if you want the plate, that's great. So it's just another way of supporting the foundation. Money will go towards the foundation in general. So I think it's great in regards to that. What other items? Okay, so we basically covered the foundation. We covered the reality-based training center. There's different dates. Scholars, people want to get involved. They can do that. They can donate money. You can golf with a police officer, Metro. You basically have a lot of things going on. You got the plates, you got the shirts, souvenirs, different locations. Canine Trials coming up. I know there was another flyer here for behind me over here. Okay. Tell me, I think this is one of the other items. So we have the Empowering Black Ownership of Public Safety, Metro Police Foundation partnership with the Urban Chamber of Commerce. Tell me a little bit about this.
Sure. So a lot of the community engagement programming, in particular the programming we're doing with youth, is centered on communities of color, where there has historically been more challenging relationships with law enforcement. And so from a police department standpoint, they have been very good at prioritizing these communities. And from a funding standpoint, a lot of the money that we provide goes to these communities. But we noticed that a lot of our donors are not from, say, a community of color, the Black community in particular. And so last month, we launched the Black Giving Circle, which really is an opportunity for Black residents, Black business owners, Black corporate executives to come together and give to their community through these programs. It also gives them the opportunity to attend events, network, and have mentoring and speaking opportunities to help improve the lives of young Black people.
Okay. And I know with the urban, I have not attended that, which I need to, the Urban Chamber of Commerce, helping the urban community in general. So there's different levels that for membership opportunities, right? To be a new initiative designed to support the Black community to reduce crime and improve public safety. And there's different sponsorships, right? To become a Black Giving Circle member, contact LaToya, Director of Community Outreach with the foundation.
Right. So there are different giving levels. However, you could give $1 and be a member of the Black Giving Circle. So we want this to be as broad as possible, but we know there are some people or companies that can give at higher levels, and so we want to be able to recognize them for their increased generosity.
I do have some different attorneys that I work with through the Las Vegas Legal Network. Specifically, I was just thinking of one, Larissa, who's with Stolven Associates, and she may be interested to be more involved in the community, and especially with the Urban Chamber of Commerce. So I definitely will let her know. Is this stuff on your website as well specifically, or is it more?
Yes.
There's two? Okay, great. So what I'll do is I'll send some of these things out, through the Las Vegas Legal Network, which again is basically was started about a year ago to refer people to a network to help different people and to provide some legal services with attorneys doing things like pro bono or helping people through the process, referring them or helping them a little bit. One of the goals is to get the lawyers to do some free services like a free will or free traffic ticket representation, because I always felt bad where people are going into warrant and it's kind of like a bad circle. They get arrested, their car gets towed, they don't get their car, they can't go to work, they lose their job, they lose their house. It's a really bad circle. And I know these days they're talking about decriminalizing traffic tickets, people that are speeding and different things. I'm not sure at what level. I know it's being worked on. But the goal is to help society and keep it productive and going. And I always felt bad as a police officer when people had warrants. If they didn't make a payment, they go back into warrant, they fail to appear, and then it's just a bad cycle, And the goal is that's where people can start increasing crime, because they keep having to pay their fines and they keep going back into warrant, and then there's a warrant fee, and So I'm trying to do everything possible to prevent recidivism and also helping people be productive in society by working through the Las Vegas Legal Network. So what I was thinking about is that maybe the Las Vegas Legal Network could send out an email to all the lawyers, through the state, asking them to partake in one of the different programs. So maybe we could sit down and we could work on that stuff too. Because I don't think people definitely don't know about all the stuff that you got going on, and I think that, when people look at all these things, they're like, what, I wouldn't mind getting involved in the canine, or I wouldn't mind, buying some calendars, or I like the license plate situation or different things. So I think we need more awareness in general. And like I said, I've been more aware because I think I've saw it on social media, and maybe I pressed like on Facebook, and now I'm seeing more things in general. So if people want to get involved and help back the police officers or back these different programs, the bottom line is they need to get involved. And there's so many different ways that you have involvement. There's no way that you can say, well, there's certain programs I don't like. You got 100 different programs going on to support the police. So again, I commend you with your efforts. Is there anything else that I'm missing? I think we covered a lot of different things in general. Are you also 9 to 5 in an office? Where is the main headquarters for this?
So right now, our main office is over by the airport, but in a few weeks, we will be moving downtown. So we'll be closer to LVMPD headquarters, which is on Martin Luther King. So we will be in the Mulaski Corporate Center as of the end of this month.
Where is that? Is that?
It's very close to the Smith Center.
Okay.
So we'll be moving there. We also have an office at headquarters because we sell merchandise there. But in terms of anything else that I'd want to make sure people know, if there are any officers of Metro listening and they happen to have a senior in high school and that senior is interested in planning to go to college, the deadline for our scholarship program is coming up early next week. So if they are interested in learning more, they should go to our website, lvmpdfoundation.org. And the scholarship program is named for the two officers you referenced earlier who were murdered at that CC's Pizza Parlor. So
it's a scholarship program for people that are seniors.
Yep. And we provide 12 $5,000 scholarships.
12 $5,000 scholarships. Okay.
Each year. And so the deadline is next week. And then our selection committee will meet and pick the 12. And I have to say, the most challenging thing I do in this job is participate on that selection committee, because the stories, and we ask each of the applicants to write an essay about why being the son or daughter of a police officer is so important and has been so impactful on their lives. And, every single one of these young people deserves a scholarship, but we, at this point, only have 12 to give out.
So the scholarship goes to who?
Scholarship goes to the students so that they can use it for their first year in college.
But the scholarships are for just any person that writes why they're writing why it's important. It's not. Is it a police officer's?
Well, they have to be the son or daughter of an active or retired officer or member of staff of LVMPD.
Okay.
And they have to have a certain. They have to share their grade point average and their transcript, and so we look at that, and we look at this essay, and it's a really tough choice, but we end up having 12 wonderful young people get a really generous check for their college education.
It's funny. I think the other day, and I think this is something you need to work on. I'm giving you all these different projects. That's why I got you here today. I think I saw it in Michigan, and I don't know if it's too nationwide. That I'm going to look it up real quickly. That in Michigan, that this is a little bit different. Any fallen officer's kid can get free college. Now, I know this is different because you're doing son and daughter of Metro Police, but any son and daughter where if their father or mother was a police officer that died in the line of duty, that they're giving free college to them. Do you know if that exists here?
Yes.
It does exist here?
It does exist here.
Okay.
The state of Nevada will provide that so long as that child goes to college in Nevada.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. It's been a while since I've heard that, but it popped up the other day in regards to Michigan, but they made it seem like anyone in the U.S., you can go to Michigan. It wasn't just like here you're saying that if they died in this state that they can go to college. I think it was in the state of Michigan that anybody in the United States can go to Michigan. I'm not sure if it's state of Michigan, Michigan University, whatever it is. We're going to look it up. I thought it was very cool that they did that. I mean, the sacrifice, as a patrol officer, when I was patrolling, I remember there was a Metro officer that passed away. I think he was one of these up in Mount Charleston, the units that would go up to find people. I forgot the units.
Search and rescue.
Like search and rescue, yeah. And I think he died searching for somebody, and the family lived in Henderson. I remember driving around because it was a certain house. And I just felt so bad. Like, I was in the community, and I think I was teaching there at the time. But knowing that this house, there was an officer that lived there, and this family's there, and he's no longer there. And I felt terrible just knowing that, it was when he passed away in the line of duty. And people just don't realize. I couldn't even imagine. I actually retired when I had my first kid. I have 3 kids, 7, 5, and 3. But I couldn't imagine not going home to my kid. And honestly, it was a good time for me to retire. I was actually medically retired, and I'm fortunate just to be home with my children. I couldn't even imagine, they all know that I was a police officer, but I couldn't even imagine not going home to them, and people don't realize the sacrifice that they make for their family and that for their kids, that they don't get to see their kids, in the future. So it's very sad. So it's more of a reason to support, the Las Vegas Metro Police Foundation and supporting the officers and backing the badge as well. And I know there's a lot of things going on with policing these days, and there's a lot of changes, and it is what it is. I mean, times are changing, and it's not easy to be a police officer. I know there's retention issues. A lot of people are retiring, and we need people to take that police officer job and position, to protect the city. Las Vegas is very much growing, and we need more people in regards to recruitment, and we need these programs because in the future, the more support that you do the police now, the young kids that see it eventually going to want to be a police officer when they're older. And believe it or not, 10 years from now, if you're 12 years old and 10 years from now, they're going to, they're 22. I was a police officer at 22. So it's very, very important to do all these different programs and to get involvement and engagement. So again, I applaud you for all your efforts that you're doing and everybody a part of the foundation. With that basically being said, I think we covered most of it. Is there anything else? I know we got a few minutes left. Anything else that you want to share? Any shout outs or anything that you want to mention? Because even though we have this full hour, whether people listen to the full hour or not, or they listen to different things, we're going to clip up the different parts and basically post it on social media. Anything specifically that you want to share with anybody that's listening or?
Well, to everyone who's listening, if they've supported us, thank you. If you're learning about us for the first time, I hope that you'll think about supporting the foundation and Metro and our law enforcement community. And I thank you for having me on and for your service as a law enforcement officer and for continuing to support us.
One thing I want to share with you is that, so this location, Sticky Paw Studio, we're by 215 and Rainbow behind the new UFC. We're doing quarterly events here. We're doing one for St. Patrick's Day. So if anybody wants to come out, it's just more of a networking for business owners and for people like yourself that maybe are looking for fundraisers for people that are businesses that maybe want to sponsor, the foundation. So if you want to come out or anybody with Metro to socialize and to network people here, it's from 5 to 8 St. Patrick's Day. Social Registered Network is kind of like, it's what I would say powered by them because they have a network of different people that are basically good professional people that are business owners that want to be involved in the community and want to network and do business together, but they want the best for the community. But if you guys want to come out for that, I would love to have you guys here. We normally do 15 minutes of different businesses doing a quick podcast, and then we clip it together and then we get it out to their, social media. But we'll be having food and drinks and so on. But if you ever want to do a fundraising event here for the foundation, I'd be more than happy to have you back. If you want to have the sheriff back or other people, whoever you want to come on the show, we can do a fundraiser here. And like I said, we've had the most people. We had I think it was about 75 people. I think this time we're going to try to do maybe about 125 from 5 to 8. So if you want to do something here, there's no cost to you. We can set that up and we can do like a podcast maybe with a Metro officer in uniform. We've had Hope for Prisoners on. I'm trying to get, I never got a chance even to reach out to the sheriff at this point in time. Was one of my game plans. It's just kind of been a busy year. But I think this coming up the next few weeks, we're going to have some different politicians that are running, for different positions. I actually met with the possible future, North Las Vegas mayor the other day that he's running. In general, nice guy. So we're having different people come on. So if you want to do something in the future, and then we could also sell things that are here as well at the same time, let me know.
Great. Thank you.
With that basically being said, again, I appreciate your time. If anybody wants to get in contact with you, is there a certain number that you want to shout out a little bit? Or just go to the website? Or if they want to meet with you to talk about sponsorship opportunities, what's the main number to contact?
So the best place to go is our website, lvmpdfoundation.org. And if they want to contact me directly, they could email me at tkovach, Kovach, at lvmpdfoundation.org.
Okay, great. Again, I appreciate that we have all this great stuff. So anyone's listening, go to the Metro Foundation to get involved, get the information, make some donations, buy some merchandise, get the license plates, get involved, help the community in general. And support Las Vegas Metro. So again, I appreciate you coming on today. The problem solver. The one last thing I'll share with you is this, which starting April 6th, one of the big news for the problem solver shows has been going on for a year. We just got accepted to go on channel 14 Tuesdays at 6 p.m. for 30 minutes. Right now we're doing an hour. So maybe we'll have you come on in the future for the 30-minute show. It'll be recorded and then be a little bit more structured of questions. And then it will be going on, every Tuesday at 6 p.m. on Channel 14, which is Cox, 13's ABC. And then starting April 6th, it'll be a weekly show on TV. But we've been doing it for a year here. It'll still be produced here, but it will be aired on Channel 14. So we're kind of excited about that because technically it's up to 300,000 subscribers of Cox. Some people say no one watches TV anymore. Well, there's 300,000 Cox subscribers, so hopefully someone's going to watch the show, right? But I appreciate everyone that's listening and support over the last year, and I'm looking forward to actually taking it to TV. You know, a lot of people do the podcast thing, but now we're doing podcast and TV together to basically just get a greater audience of, you know, listeners and viewership, and on Spotify and all these, you know, the different social media platforms. So again, Tom, I appreciate you coming on the show. I hope to have you next time, and then we'll set it up for, you know, TV so more people can even listen as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
So again, I am David Kohlmeier, the problem solver, as a retired police officer of 17 years, helping people in the community. We have a phone number, which is very easy to remember. When you need the police, it's always 911. When you need the problem solver, it's 702-999-1111. Very easy number to remember. If you want to go to theproblemsolver.vegas, it is a progressive web app. You can add it to your home screen. Click on one of the tabs where it says problem solver. If you have a problem, you can put any problem that you have, whether it's I need to buy a house, mortgages, I need insurance, I got a question, if you're suicidal, I mean, whatever the situation, whatever problem that you have, I want to basically help you in general. Those other problem solvers are connected. We're working with United Way. We're working with a lot of different nonprofits in general to help people. So there's a list of all kinds of different problems. And if you see a problem that's not there, you click on other, and we're going to basically solve that problem for you. So again, theproblemsolver.vegas, again, 702-999-1111. Again, I'm David Kohlmeier, the problem solver. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.